Speechless.
Welcome back to the show. Boy, do we have one for you today.
Ooh, wow. Okay, Meadow, who's on the episode today?
Okay, first of all, it's like one of my favorite people of all time. It's Sam Abrahart. She is the founder and CEO of the Mayfair Group, which is one of the most beautiful mental health advocacy groups there is. They actually do a lot of work with other brands and help supporting other brands as well, but they also have their own that's all centered around mental health advocacy, and I help consult for them. But she also just happens to be like one of my newest favoriteest friends of all time. She is such a beautiful fucking authentic. Like, I hate the word authentic because everyone slaps that
people
around
are
these
going to
days.
listen to this episode and are going to know exactly what you're talking about.
She is
There's
the
no other
most
word.
like, yes, there's no other word. She is so beautifully herself. She is so self-aware. She's so gracious. She has so much grace, so much class. She's also funny as fuck. And she's just like
She's cool as fuck too.
Cool as fuck. It's one of my favorite people of all time. And she absolutely crushed this podcast.
We talked
Her podcast. So that's probably why the Mayfair World. I've been on it. Listen to it.
Yeah, you should go listen to it. We talked about so many things. And obviously, Meadow and I prep before these episodes and we can sometimes kind of gauge the way that episodes are going to go. And I don't know about you. And obviously, I recently met Sam when she was out in LA and like fucking fell in love with her and just like it validated everything I already thought about her.
Yeah.
But then like I actually don't think I've ever been as quiet as I was. Both of us, when it comes to like interjecting, we're just silent because everything that she was saying was so thoughtful. We talked about leadership within the company and leading with vulnerability, but still being effective at what you do. And she was just so incredibly gracious in sharing her experiences in which she has failed as a leader and made mistakes as a leader within Mayfair and how they've pivoted and changed the culture and created this culture that actually walks the walk as well.
Yeah.
And it was just
she's the real fucking deal. Like, it's so rare
to find
it's
leaders
so
like
beautiful.
that.
It's so refreshing. Like, if you like Jesse Israel's episode, you're gonna fucking love this episode, which is also cute and ironic because they're working together now too. Yeah. It's like the best combo of all time.
No, it's incredible. It's such a great episode. I really hope you guys enjoy it. I don't even want to take up more time talking about it.
Me neither. You just go straight to Sam. You need the Sam.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much, Sam.
So much.
Oh my God. Enjoy the episode.
It's 10:15, but
yeah. That's our bedtime. Are you kidding? Oh my gosh, you're late night with us. That's so cute.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working Arizona hours, so I basically work from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. every single night here.
Shut up.
I swear.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's rough.
But I'm here till mid-July, but it gives me the flexibility to be in Europe. So I'm like, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like, if that's the worst part of it, like, I'm totally down to be here and do that. So
totally.
That
attitude, my gosh.
Amazing.
You've been thriving in London. Like, all your fits, the hair, like you're glowing over there.
I know you really are.
It's just being around the people I love. You know, I feel like I'm a better version of myself around my family, and I never get to see them. So I just value the time with them so much. And yeah, I just feel like better version of Sam, like happy Sam when I'm here, which is so nice. So
would you try to live in both places eventually, do you think? You and Carl?
Probably. I know. Yeah. I was messaging Carl because he like responded to my story because he came on our family vacation. So he was here for like 10 days. We were in France, but he messaged me and he was like, I love London. I miss it so much. And I was like, should we move here for a little while?
Yes.
And he goes, Sam, we're literally building a house right now. Are you kidding?
Okay. Yeah.
He's like no. Reel your ass in your Sagittarius moon. Like, fucking stop. Like, literally like.
You and me both, baby.
Yeah. I know. He's like, you're literally crazy. We have to pay the builders. Like, stop. I was like, okay. I'm just kidding. I love you.
Sam is the reason why I understand my Sag moon more, by the way. Because we're both Sag moons and we really feel it. That's why we literally, the second we met each other, we just like grabbed each other, went to the backyard, started smoking and just like vibing. We just like sat in each other's arms and just like smoked and talked. You know, it was perfect.
We were living our best life.
Yeah.
I love that you guys are working together because like it really is just the match. It's just the match made in heaven.
We got that energy, huh?
Meadow changed our little world. She's
Oh,
amazing. I know you know that, Gabby, but I also I heard so much about you from Meadow. And so when you came to our wellness house, I was just like, tell me everything. Hi. Like I just felt like
Oh my
I
God.
needed to be in your presence to experience one, the dynamic of the two of you together, but also just like get to spend time with you. And it's so cool to witness just you guys' dynamic. Like you guys have,
Aw,
it's magic. You know what I mean? And anyone around you knows that. So
oh my
I
gosh.
just love
Well,
being a part of
thanks.
it.
you'll see because we have questions for you that fully reflect you and Dev being what Gabby and I are trying to accomplish too. Like, I feel like it's fun
Yes.
because they really do support each other in the like matchmaking way that you and I
Yeah,
do, Gabby.
yeah.
It's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I told you this, Sam, but after that event, it was probably the first time that since moving to LA, have been to any sort of like brand event that didn't feel
Mm.
like a brand event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just felt
Aw.
so cool. And everyone that works there is just, and works with you is so nice and authentic and like
The
genuinely wants
team
to
is
be
next
there.
level.
And
Truly.
like
Really
you
is.
feel it as like a third party coming into it. You feel safe. You feel, I don't know. It was really, really cool. You
Yeah.
guys really did a good fucking job. And I use your stress
Oh,
ball all the time.
you
Oh
And
my
I'm in
God.
do.
Mayfair
Wait,
right
Sam, I
now.
forgot to tell you. Gabby's been using the stress ball. And then my good friend Michael, that came to the wellness house, was on a flight to Europe a few weeks ago and was like, dude, I was freaking out. And that Mayfair
Oh
stress
my
ball
God.
came in clutch.
Who knew those like literally 99-cent stress balls were gonna be like the big win of
The
the
big
whole
win.
thing.
No,
I love it.
I keep it in my hand every time we're recording now.
I
We
It's,
love
need to make
that.
our own, Sam.
I
I
know.
love
We need to
that. Yeah,
make
you
some.
guys should do them for the podcast. That'd be so fun.
Oh, that'd be cute. I was gonna say Mayfair
Right
too,
away.
honestly.
Yeah, seriously.
Seriously, they're
Okay,
really good.
well, the first question,
Go
Q.
ahead.
Do you wanna intro unpacking, Gabby?
Yeah, so every episode that we have a guest, we like to just put them in the hot seat for a hot second and ask them what they're
Mm.
unpacking. We get a variety of different answers. Like it could literally be anything from like something silly to like actually something that you're genuinely going through and zero pressure to get deep.
Mhm.
But if
Kind of
you would
like
Love
like
it.
first thing
to,
that comes to
we're
mind.
here. Is there
Yeah.
anything
Girl,
you're currently unpacking?
She's gonna go
I'm a
deep.
Scorpio.
Yeah.
I'm a Scorpio. We literally go from 0 to like the deepest, darkest secret you could ever possibly want to know about me.
Facts.
Well,
It's
where
true
do we
about
want to
Scorpios.
start? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Meadow introduced me to Jesse, who I know you
Yeah.
guys have had on your podcast, and me and him are
We love
doing
him.
some coaching, some life work.
Yes.
And something I'm unpacking right now is just fear of failure in opportunities outside of my business. So
Mm.
I feel like when it comes to Mayfair, I feel so confident in that role. And I think it's because, I've really grown into be comfortable in who I am as like CEO Sam of Mayfair. Like I love to take risks with Mayfair. Like I'm down to just try things. But then when it comes to like me personal Sam, I feel like I'm way more timid and way more scared to try things that maybe like are uncomfortable for me. So
Mm.
that could just be like personal ventures or, like a book I've been wanting to write or just
Mhm.
like more public speaking engagements. Like I'm scared to fail. And, a lot of that is rooted in childhood and just my life and things that I've navigated. But I'm really working on unpacking what that fear of failure looks like for me and just getting past limiting beliefs, which I know like we all experience as human
Oh yeah.
beings. So, yeah.
Oh
Dude.
yeah. That's a thank you for sharing that because that's so real and I know something that so many people experience and that that sort of distinction and like dichotomy between being able to be like so secure in one area of your life but then
Mhm.
the other area you're really just trying to navigate and it's almost like we show up it's a testament to like the different personalities that we have, right? And
Yeah.
like our
Yeah.
strengths and weaknesses in that way. But I think that's something that a lot of people I mean I'm sure Meadow can too, can relate to.
Well, it's also like literally one of the first questions I was thinking of when we were planning this,
Mhm.
Sam, was how you and I were talking so much back in May about how you really want to explore areas of you outside of Mayfair and like
Mhm.
other things you want to do. And so one of my first questions was like, how is that process going? And that's kind of that. You're like working through blocks to kind of
Yeah.
start doing it, right?
Yeah, and I think there's like 100%, and I think we all to some degree when you build a business or you build a podcast or something you love, there's this sense of like underlying guilt, I feel like is the word that comes to
Mm,
mind for me of not wanting to allocate time, like selfish time to anything else. So the extreme of this would be when I first started my business, I would work like 20-hour days. I
oh,
would like
absolutely
complete
not.
burn out myself. I would
Mm,
not take vacations. And in return, I was creating this like really toxic culture. And from the outside, Mayfair was like this amazing empowerment company and community. But like here I was as a leader, like creating
mm,
this culture where people felt like they couldn't take a break or they like couldn't go on a walk in the day. And, I think I experienced burnout because of that. I feel like we probably lost some really good employees because of that, if I'm being honest. And I think like through this whole journey of being CEO of Mayfair and my own like personal development and self growth, I've learned that like the way that you lead your business translates so much into your culture and what you're cultivating. And then also outside of that. So, it's like I want everybody to have passions outside of work. But then when it comes to me, I
mhm,
was living like I could only live, breathe, and die Mayfair, and I couldn't do
mhm.
anything else with my time. So it's been this weird, like, learning lesson and period of just like the things that I'm so hopeful now and so excited about with my employees. Like, I am allowed those opportunities too. Like, I'm allowed to do
Yes.
things outside of work, outside of Mayfair. I'm allowed to style if I want or, take other opportunities. And that's never going to take away from my love and time for Mayfair. But I'm also allowed to do other things. Like I shouldn't be defined by this just one thing. So, yeah.
That literally is the reason why I'm fucking in love with you.
No,
Like, have you ever
seriously.
heard a leader be that honest and open about their
No.
experience? Like,
No.
and other like, especially women our age trying to do this shit because we all are,
Yeah.
like, no one is this fucking honest with each other. This is why the
Yeah.
second I met you, Sam, I just, like, gravitate towards you because you're, like, no bullshit, authentic, like, learning in real time, honestly. Ugh.
Yes, retweet to literally everything that Meadow just said, but it truly is like a testament to the type of leader that you are. And by the way, like I feel like we always hear parents talk about this of like, "Oh, if my cup isn't full, I'm not a good mom, I'm not
Mm,
a good partner or
mhm,
whatever." And I think it's the same thing when it comes to being a leader and being a boss is you're not going to
mhm.
be the best leader that you can be. You're not going to give the best version of yourself to your company and this like baby that you've grown from the ground up if you as Sam the individual are not
Exactly.
also taking care of
Mhm.
yourself and your cup isn't full in that way. So it all just
Yeah.
like milks in. I wonder
It
though
does.
when cuz by the way, what you said is really rare of like acknowledging a shift in culture.
'Cause
Like
everyone's had a
Mhm.
job where they felt that, at least amongst a lot of our
yeah,
friends,
yeah,
I would
yeah.
say,
For
and no
sure.
one
Yeah.
really talks about that, at
No
least
one
this
Yeah.
openly and beautifully, yeah.
100%. No one talks about it. I was wondering if you had like was there an aha moment that it
That's a
clicked
good
in your
one.
brain or was it a slow burn where you were like something needs to change here?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes along with one just experience. Anything that you do, my dad always says the only thing that gets better with age is perspective, and it's so true.
Mm,
You get
that's a good
older,
one.
and I feel like you see things completely differently. And I think also hand in hand with that is just like the self work.
Mhm,
I encourage every leader of a company to go on that journey and do the self work because, your unhealed traumas and pain will essentially lead to actions that you make, leadership decisions that you make, ways that you
mhm,
respond to people, defensiveness. I mean, everything. You know what I mean? I feel like there were so many things that I was able to identify during a lot of self work and therapy that I was like, "Wait, I'm saying that I'm doing something in my business, but really I'm doing something another way." And, I'm the first person to admit that, like, we've made a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes in the way that I originally set out with Mayfair and maybe the culture that I was creating and the way we, had people working crazy hours because, that was normal to me. And that was like what I
mhm,
was doing and I felt like was normal. And in reality, like, that was part of a toxic culture essentially in the beginning that we might have been building. And so I think along with the self work and therapy, I able to identify the things that I struggled with and it's so much it's way more important to understand the things you struggle with than obviously the things that you're great at.
mhm,
And so I think if you can troubleshoot those things and learn to identify those things and you start to realize okay, these are the things that maybe I've instilled in the culture that I should change. And as you start to change them, you see that people enjoy work more, they stay more, they're more loyal to the company, like, and also you become a better person, and like you create boundaries for yourself, because when you create them for yourself and you create them in the business, then like you get to also reap those benefits. So it's just, it's such a learning process. And I feel like, it's hard to explain unless you've been through it. It's one of those
Yeah.
things, like, when you have a business, there's so many things you learn along the way. I mean, something that also comes to mind is I remember I wanted to like keep everyone. I was sad when people left for the longest time. Like I didn't want people to outgrow Mayfair.
Yeah.
And I think recently something that I've come into just as like a CEO, and something that I've been working on, is just using Mayfair as an opportunity to help people get to the best version of themselves. Like whatever that
Yeah.
long-term goal is, will talk to our employees all the time. And I'm like, what is your long-term goal in life? Okay, you want to be a lawyer. You want to be, how can I help you get there? And, I think that like so many people are going to have amazing, amazing dreams beyond you, and that's okay. But I think it starts with the journey of self-healing. And I feel like until you address your own issues, those issues will continue to bleed into the people around you in your work or professional life. So it's important to do the self-work.
Can you think of like a specific example or two of something that you do now at Mayfair that you didn't do in the past that's monumental? Like,
Good
I
question.
I remember the day that Mad Happy sent out like a formal email being like, "We are no texting past 6 or 7 p.m. Like we schedule meetings a certain way." Like these like really beautiful kind of nice work-life boundaries that they made like a company-wide standard. Can you think of like some of your favorite rules or things you've implemented? Which I know
Well,
is
one
kind of a hard question to think of, but
No, it's a great question. One being the example I just said is really working with employees to understand what their long-term goals in life are,
yeah,
beyond work, beyond everything, and then just understanding that we play a small part in someone's journey. And that's the most fulfilling thing that you can do as anyone that's a leader, anyone that's connected to anyone in life. If you can help somebody get to where they want to go and be a small part in their journey, then that's probably the most fulfilling thing for me, in my role. But something that is very obviously close and happening right now is just the remote office situation. So
mm,
essentially, we basically were in office 3 days a week, and I just started to see that people weren't motivated to come in. They wanted to be outside of Arizona. We were capped based on talent that we could have access to being in Arizona. And we started to
mm,
hire people outside, and there's been so many shifts in what like, normal work looks like nowadays,
totally.
and I think the biggest thing is just listen to your employees and have that open dialogue and transparency with your employees. Because I remember there was quite a few things of employees coming to me being like, "Oh, it's not really fair that we have to, some of us have to come in for 3 days a week and everybody else is remote."
Mhm.
And I was like, "You're right. Like, it's not fair at all. Like, how do we all feel about going remote for the summer?" Some people like coming into a space, some people
Mhm.
prefer to be remote. So it's really about listening. But basically, we went remote for the entire summer. And, not only has that benefited everybody, they've been able to go visit family, but it's also been amazing for me. I've been able to be in London with my family, which I never
Hell
get
yeah.
to do. So I think it's just really important to listen to your employees and have dialogue and communication with people, and create a space where people feel comfortable to come to you and be honest about the things that they're going through. And I feel like a lot of companies say that, but they don't really mean it. They're like, "Yeah, you can come
Oh,
to us." Oh,
yeah.
wait, wait, wait. No, 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 no. Like, we're
Mhm.
That's too
still gonna.
much.
Yeah. So I think it's, the hardest things to hear are usually the most important to hear. And I think, as a leader and as a business owner, you really have to let go of your ego completely. You got to leave it at the door. You got to can just completely be open to really honest feedback. And that's something I've had to learn as well and accept over time. But the best decisions have come from those conversations.
Dude,
2 things. Sorry, Meta, I'm about to cut
no,
you off on
no,
this
cut me
before I
off,
forget
baby.
my 2
Cut me
things.
off, baby. Yeah.
Okay, number 1, what I was just thinking about while you were talking is, like, this is the exact issue that Meadow and I have with cancel culture, because
Yes.
it creates an environment in which people don't feel inclined to take accountability,
Mm,
because it's like, if you haven't been publicly canceled, then, like, why am I gonna openly talk about
a mistake I made.
the mistakes I made and like draw attention to it. And especially with leaders in positions like yours where you have like a very public facing company, you know? And so that I was just thinking about that and like just reiterating to people listening of like why cancel culture is just so incorrect.
Yeah.
It's so wrong. Anyway, that's the one thing I was thinking of. And the second thing I was thinking of was you made a comment about how you guys play, you said, a small role in people's lives. And I really, as someone who's been an employee of a boss who, this was my old boss at AD, Amy
We love
Astley,
her.
and we adore Amy here. And she was the first boss that I ever had that sat me down and did that and was like, what? She asked me when she interviewed me, what do you actually want to do? And your answer doesn't need to be me, you know? It doesn't need to be that you want to be me. But what is it that you actually want to do? And she, for the 2 years that I worked with her, and she continued to reiterate that to me and touch base with me to make sure that my goals were in alignment with, you know, what she was trying to do for me. And I think you're playing a way bigger role and like you're being modest about it, because not only is that so impactful for somebody who looks up to their boss, as I'm sure all the people that work with you do, but also you're creating a generation of leaders who are going to go on and remember you as the boss that did that and do that with their employees.
That
and so it's
ripple
like
effect is
that ripple effect
monumental.
is so real. It's so real.
First of all, that means so much to me. Secondly, your boss sounds fucking incredible. Your old boss.
Oh
She
my
sounds
gosh.
amazing.
She's the best.
Shout out to her. But yeah, I think again, these are all lessons I've learned over time and I'm still learning. And I think, you know, we've got amazing directors. Meadows met a lot of them, people that have come into the company that in these senior leadership positions like AJ, Devin, Sophie, I mean, so many, Amy, there's so many people that I learn from every single day. And I think, you know, it's so important to create an incredible group of people and be open. I mean, our motto at Mayfair is never stop learning or forever a student. I have it tattooed on my arm.
Love.
But in my dad's handwriting. But I think it's so important to just keep that mentality and always be curious and be a student of life forever. Like you're never going to know enough about the industry that you're in, about what you're doing. And the minute that you do, people will lose respect for you. Like you have to continue to stay a student of life. And, you know, I think that's kind of the mentality I've been trying to adopt in every situation, in every scenario. But yeah, that's kind of like one of our models that we live by.
It's literally what our entire podcast is based around too, is like learning in real time and like not being afraid to share those lessons out loud. You know what I mean? They're so valuable. Were you going to say something, Gabby?
I was just, while we're on the topic of work, so my sister just got home. She's staying with me right now. She can't hear you, but they say hi, Isa. We were just talking about this at dinner, so it's actually funny that she just walked in as I'm about to ask you this question. We were talking about this at dinner the other day, and Sam, I wonder if you can speak to it, because obviously you lead in a very thoughtful and compassionate way, and everything that you were just talking about in terms of shifting the culture and being open and honest with yourself. What is that boundary for you of continuing to be a compassionate leader, but also being an effective leader? Because I know that right now we're seeing a lot of the like, every day's a mental health day, which like I wish, but like not realistic when you're trying to meet deadlines and run a business at the end of the day. So what's that boundary? Are you still learning it? Is it like a ebb
We're
and flow?
constantly unpacking this dynamic.
Yeah.
Because like before we get a team like you, we're trying to, I mean, we have one person on our team, but before we build out more and more, like we're really trying to learn these like healthy boundaries while also being as like compassionate and open and thoughtful.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a hard balance.
It's so hard. It is so hard. And I think what's interesting too is I feel like this is a non-traditional form of leadership that we kind of, you know, that we're venturing into. You know, there's not a rule book for it. There's not really a guideline. You know, I feel like a lot of corporate leaders, previous leaders that I've had, previous kind of like bosses.
Male.
Yeah, they totally are. You know, they're one-dimensional in the way that they think and the way they motivate people. And it's very much just like work and, you know, your mental health, the things you're navigating don't really matter. So I definitely think it's a learning process. I don't think that, you know, it's one of those things, there's not a rule book to it. And I will say that. I think my biggest thing is just creating opportunities for dialogue. So something that we do at Mayfair is we instilled weekly check-ins with like our department heads. So every Friday, we basically have a check-in with our department heads. And that feels like a really great opportunity to open dialogue for, a mental check-in. How are you doing? How are you feeling? What's on your plate? And creating spaces for those conversations. And, if you catch a vibe or you get a feeling that somebody's upset, obviously, like I always check in on people, but I think having those set scheduled
like weekly
times,
check-ins
weekly
for that
check-ins,
intention.
yeah, because then I think the people come to the meeting and they have their feedback, they have things that they're struggling with, and it keeps it a little bit more centralized than just getting on every Zoom call and being like, okay, how are we feeling?
Right.
At the end of the day, we do want to be effective and we have to be productive. So I think having scheduled moments for that. And then I think, just instilling things within your handbook, within your culture, like we have paid mental health days. After the shooting happened in Texas, I was texting Meadow about it, but
we talked about that on the podcast.
Yes.
We talked about how fucking beautifully you handled that.
Yeah.
I stayed up at night. I felt like I felt like I needed to say something to the team. And so, I provided resources. I sent everybody an email. I gave everybody time off to.
You made a generous donation. You did it
I
all.
made a donation. But I think, you kind of have to make decisions as you go. And, even just, I'm going to be completely honest too on this and just tell you, like, one of our senior level employees, Amy, I don't know if you got to meet her, Meadow, but she's our director of e-commerce. And we've been talking about health benefits and instilling, you bigger company initiatives. We are still a small self-funded business, so we haven't been able to offer full benefits for our employees yet.
We've been talking about that for a while, you and I. You've been working on that. Yeah.
We've been working on it. It's been something we've been like wanting forever, but you have to have so many people opt in. It's not just as easy as like everyone gets medical benefits. It's like, okay, who's going to opt in? Do we meet the minimums? Like it's really expensive. So anyways, she just brought up a really great point. She was like, for a company that is really big on these things, I think that, we should have a maternity leave, essentially a paid maternity leave, a really big maternity leave. She wrote me this really honest, thought out long email, and she was right. She was 100% right. And so Devin and I pulled her into the conversation, being she's one of the only people at Mayfair that's had children, that's navigated that knows what it feels like to go on maternity leave and have the pressures of work and supporting a family and all these things. And we should have involved her in the conversation from the get-go. That should have been something that I thought of to do, but we didn't. And now she's been involved in all the conversations. She's been vocal about the things that she wants to see, that she did see, she navigated when she was having babies. And I think that's, again, you're learning all the time and you're not going to be able to do things right. A lot of times you're going to make mistakes, but all you can do is just listen to your employees and pull them into conversations, create spaces where they feel like they can write that email to you. They can tell you the things they want to see.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the best way to do it, and be honest about the mistakes that you make, because I think a leader that's in denial about the things that they've done wrong is not a good leader.
Period, Sam. Period.
Yeah. Sam, London, I'm like, how is Eckhart Tolle going? Because you feel like you have this new wave. Like, I mean, you've always had this energy, and I watched you create these intentional spaces, like in the Zoom meetings I've done with you at the wellness house. Like, I watch you do this, but I feel like there's like a little fire in you right now. Like, I feel like you got a little extra energy. Like
10 p.m. Sam.
10 p.m. Sam. But also, side note, how's that Eckhart Tolle book going for you? Are you making any like personal like away from work? How is these lessons applying to personal life? What is that looking like?
That book has literally changed my world.
It's unreal. I've read it like 4 times.
Such a good book.
Wait, which book? Which book? Tell the people.
It's oh my gosh, what is the title?
A New Earth.
A New Earth.
Power of Now. Those two are the top two.
I think it's called Finding Your Life Purpose. It's like A New Earth, Finding Your Life Purpose. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. You're
right.
right.
Adding it to the list.
It is It is mind-blowing, and what's really cool is I'm doing it side by side with Jesse's coaching, Meadow,
Oh,
so that's been
fuck yes.
yeah, it's
Sick.
been really,
That
really
is the perfect
eye-opening.
combo.
No,
Yes.
seriously, that's what I was thinking about too when you were talking
That's the
about being
perfect
the way in
combo.
which you lead. Like he that was what, he spoke about on his episode, was all about
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
a vulnerable leader and leading from that place of
Mhm.
authenticity and vulnerability. So like how fucking cool that you guys are working together.
I
Continue. Go
Yeah,
know.
on.
and
My dream
Sorry.
team.
something too I just wanna mention is, like, I know we all in this room are big believers in just self-investment, but I it took me I actually reached out to Meadow. It took me a long time to even commit to doing the coaching with Jesse,
Mhm.
and meanwhile,
Yeah.
I'm over here fucking buying lattes and fucking meals
Yeah.
out my ass, but I felt like I
I
needed to,
literally
like,
said that to her. I
y
was like,
the
"Just sell some
babe.
clothes on Depop, babe. Do it. It's
Yeah.
worth it. Like, you
It's
are worth it."
It's
Yeah.
so true though, but we question spending money on self-investment, and
Yep.
that would be a big piece of advice. I know those things are expensive, but literally sell clothes on Depop, cut out takeout meals, like whatever you have to do because we all know, but like the best investment you can ever make is in yourself. So that coaching coupled with reading this book has just been like mind-blowing to me. It's been yeah,
The
it's been a
How fucking
timing.
exciting.
powerful chapter.
Seriously.
And I'll say, like, it's so much easier for me to say that to you on the phone than for me to do it myself. You know what I mean? Like, it's always easier to,
Totally.
Yeah.
like, preach that shit and then actually I literally was journaling about that last night, about how kind of the daily conscientious moments, the ones that, like, feel
Mhm.
so unrewarding is literally the hardest and most important work. Like, I
Mhm.
was kind of, like, spiraling about something yesterday, just anxious
Say
thoughts, like,
more.
nothing
Say
new.
more.
Like, no
Yeah,
new
share.
no new feelings, just new context. And I sat and
Yeah.
Aaron had just gone home from work, and we were in our room because the AC was on, and he's fucking snoring behind me, and I'm sitting there, like, spiraling. And I was like, "Okay, moment by fucking moment, I'm just gonna try to create more space between me and this feeling." Like, that's it. That's the only
Mhm.
thing, like, moment by
Mm.
fucking moment. And I sat there for 10 minutes, and then I slowly felt like I had enough space, so then I got up and could, like, cook and make a meal or whatever. And then within 2 hours, Gabby, like, someone reached out to Gabby and I about thoughts may vary in an exciting way. Someone else, like, bought an item of clothing of mine on Depop, and, like, one other thing happened that were just kind of, like, cute little kids to me when I needed a good
Yeah,
Yeah.
win. And I
fine,
was
yeah.
I was processing through how I think those things happen all the time to us no matter what, but it's literally the choice to see those as a win,
Mm.
or like the
Mhm,
choice to
Totally.
see those as a sign, because the
mhm.
placebo effect is fucking real. You know what I
So
mean? So it's
real.
like,
Yeah.
why is there like a moral value attached to like whether you get that from placebo effect or manifestation? Like, is one better than the like I was working through all that
Mhm.
shit last night, but that's all shit I learned from Eckhart Tolle. Like that's
Oh my
like
god.
that book stays in my mind rent free all the fucking time. Like,
I
I'm
need to
just
level up.
constantly
I need to read
unpacking
it.
it. Yeah, I
You
need
have
to
to read
level
it. Are you
up.
like
I
are you
really
like
do.
an audiobook person, or are you like a physical book person, Gabby?
It's a good
I
question.
hate audiobooks. I really don't like them.
I don't
I
either.
Me
I
neither.
just and I'm not like a Kindle girl either. Like I need the
Yeah, same.
physical book.
Me too.
Um
Same,
yeah,
same.
it just I think that I last year I was really in a serious personal development book mode,
Yeah,
and I think it got
Mhm.
so exhausting that
yeah.
I then
You had
shifted
to go
back
live the
into
life a little bit.
my
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah,
real first love when it comes to books are like personal essays and more like
Yeah.
memoir type things from usually women because I just don't need it from a man that I admire and I love hearing about their journeys and their stories and people are hilarious. Like I just finished the book We're Never Meeting in Real Life. Her name's also Sam.
Oh,
oh,
cute.
Fucking hilarious book.
I
But
like
I'm
that.
doing that and now I'm like on the fiction gang because I need a
Yeah.
little
mm,
escapism.
Summer
Yep.
is so good for fiction. Summer's like a big
Yeah.
fiction
Yeah. But
escapism beach reads.
I think I'm ready to open up the feels, especially what we were just talking about off
yeah,
camera before we started recording.
Uh-huh.
People listening, experienced a moment that sort of for like a literal split second, and Meadow really snapped me out of it. It was for a real split second. I was like really questioning my gut reactions and my intuition, and she was like,
Mhm.
mhm.
"We're not gonna do that.
I'm not even tolerating that from you. We've
We're
worked
not
too
doing
hard on
that."
that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
No.
So I think I'm okay, and I think I'm in a space where I can lean back into the self-help world.
Yeah.
No, it's like all encompassing. And I think
Yeah.
too, you feel like, I'm sure you specifically being a writer, like you probably feel an obligation, or it still feels a little bit work related. I know Meta, I'm sure you feel that way too, just in being in the advocacy space. Like sometimes it doesn't feel like an escapism from work
It's
because it
so
is
true.
part of what you do, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm like, I'm always that girl in January that's like, I'm gonna read 12 books this year, and like
Me too.
it's literally June and I'm still finishing one, and I'm like, all right, Sam, you got
Dude,
this. Don't worry.
honestly
Like,
though,
give
but
yourself
like
grace.
especially books like that where like you can read one chapter and fucking go journal about it for a month. Like it takes a while to get
It
through
takes a
them.
while.
Yeah,
But
No
it's
one's
kind of a
judging.
nicer way to go through it. Yeah.
I actually realized I can't read more than like 7 to 10 pages at once because I have so many thoughts after 7
Totally.
pages that I will move on and I'm still thinking about the things that I read. So I almost feel like it's
It's kind
better
of a
to
good
like,
rule.
yeah, it's like
I
just
like
do a
that.
That's a
couple
good
pages.
exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, like do 5 to 7 pages and then decompress, write about it, journal about it, and then
Yeah.
like the next day,
Do the next
reapproach
5 to
it.
7 or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Because
I
it's
Okay.
love
almost too
that.
much. It's so meaty. It's almost too much information to retain. Like there's so
It
much good
is
stuff in
true.
it that I
Yeah.
want to be present for like everything. So yeah, I
And
try to
Gabby,
split it up.
even in some of his books, he has like this little symbol that like kind of looks like an S or infinity sign that's literally meant for that. It's meant for you to like pause and stop reading and take it in and come back to it
Oh,
another
I read a
time.
book
Like
like
he
that.
has how cool is that?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it was, oh God, I can't remember what it was called. Chrissy Rutherford told me to read it. She talks about it all the time. It'll come to me.
Ah,
Love her.
But
I know.
but
You just saw
the
her, right?
Yeah,
did
Sorry.
she's in
you?
London. I literally hung out with
Yeah.
her like last week or a week
Ah,
ago.
Oh God, she's so
I
jealous.
fucking
love her
cool.
so much.
I know.
She's literally the
Love
best.
her.
But yeah, the book has places in the book where it literally tells you to stop and like take a breath or like stop and jump up and down, and then
Mhm.
it has journal prompts that sort of
Oh my
has you
God.
reflecting on what you were just reading.
The
So
jump
true.
up and down totally
You did
triggers
that the
my
other day on the podcast.
I did. I
Yeah.
literally jumped up and down to get out of a bad we were in the middle of a podcast and I was like in a bad mood and couldn't pull my thoughts together, Sam. And we paused and I did jumping jacks and I put my head upside down to get blood to my head and flipped my hair. And I was like, whew, okay. Like I gotta come back to it. Like
Yeah.
I
you
love
just
it.
gotta move that
Whatever
energy
the fuck
around.
you have to do, like, whatever the fuck you
Fucking
gotta
just do
do,
it.
just do it. Just do
Literally.
it. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Truly,
Hi,
truly.
Mahal.
Hi, Mahal. She's being so bad. Okay, I am gonna go back to work a little bit though, Sam, because I was
Yeah.
chewing on this the other day about how I think you and I, at least from what I've experienced, are pretty unique in our perspective of we talk about this all the time, like viewing other people in our same field as people on the same team and not our competitors.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
think you and I are pretty fucking unique in that feeling, at least from my recent experiences. And so I
Yeah.
just wanted to kind of like pick your brain about how as time goes on and as your business scales and gets bigger and you get into like bigger and cooler spaces, like does that become easier or harder to maintain? Like how has that shifted for you? How does that
Mhm.
change
I
the way you
love this
define
question.
success? Like
Yeah.
just say some things about that for me, would you?
Yeah. I Yeah. First of all, we could talk about this for days. Meadow and I have had
Uh-huh.
so
We
many side
have. Yeah.
conversations on this.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But, I'm like, insert like crazy backstory
Yeah.
here.
Exactly.
But I would say it gets easier with time. I think a
Okay.
lot of things that I've learned with business is just you learn how to navigate situations. And especially, like I said, for me, doing the self work and understanding triggers for me, like personally and
Mm.
professionally, I've understood, just things that potentially were shortcomings for me that were infiltrating into my professional life. And one of those was, comparing my own business to other people's, and also changing what my long-term goals were based on like what people in the industry were telling me that we should be doing, or
Mm.
Because we're
the
like taught
growth.
that. We're fed that
Yeah.
kind of narrative. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend Emil Nava today. I went to lunch with him and we were just talking about he has an amazing, amazing creative business too. And we were just chatting about it and we were talking about how, you feel like this pressure when you're experiencing growth to like go, 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 go. And people will be like, you're going 500%, you can grow 800%. Here's how you go 1200% and all these things. And it's so hard not to get caught up in that. And I also think when people are saying like, this company's doing this and this company's doing that, like, you almost have to be a little bit in your own world. And that was the way I kind of started Mayfair. And then I think when we started experiencing a lot of growth, I got a little bit caught up in that, just to be really honest. And, I feel like we started then making decisions based on these things that I was like aiming for that weren't really true to what, Devin and I wanted and what I wanted for the business. And so, as always, the universe humbles you in more ways than none. And we went through different things. And I was like, okay, this is telling me that I need to realign with what my intentions are for the business. And just because success may look one way to other people, success for me is like making an impact, having a manageable lifestyle business, not working 20-hour days, like creating a culture that people actually enjoy coming to work, not working my employees to death where they feel like they're so unhappy. Like maybe we don't need to double every year. Maybe we can be flat. Like that's fine too, as long as we're making an impact and we're, creating these beautiful conversations and safe spaces for people, then to me, that's success. Like if my employees are happy, we create this amazing culture. So I had to get intentional with what my goals for the business were and realign with that because it was easy to get caught up in what other people were telling me to do when we were growing really fast.
You have to
And as
say
I
like very big picture every single
Yeah.
day and every single decision, which is like
Yeah.
hard to kind of do to
It
scale that
is,
and of course that's
and
cool.
and I think too, you're conscious of what's happening in the industry, but I would advise people to, like, research, but only to a degree, or be aware, but only to a degree.
Mm,
Not on, like, cultural, social impact type things, but I just mean what's happening with your competitors, with your industry, because if you focus too much what on other people are doing, you subconsciously start to think those are the growth things that you need to be doing,
right.
or like these are the metrics you need to be hitting. Like if Forbes is posting about businesses doing this and this, like do you need to, so I think it's easy to get caught up in that. And in the same light with that, I would say when you're really sure about what it is that your long-term goal is, for me, obviously it's just about making an impact and creating these safe spaces. You don't see people as competition. You really
Yeah.
don't see people as competition because you understand to get to that goal, to create advocacy for these really important conversations, it needs to involve everyone. So I've never, ever, ever really seen people, as competition. And I can truly say that in my heart. People copy us all the time. We've never spoken out about it. Yes, of course, we've had to like send cease and desist letters because, those are designs that like
Mhm.
our graphic
Right,
designers
you're taking care of your
created,
business.
stuff like
Yeah.
that, but I
Yeah.
also I feel like there's something to be said about handling those things in private and
Mhm.
having those conversations and even sometimes giving people the benefit of the doubt. Like people sometimes are unintentional, sometimes people are intentional. That's okay, So I don't know. I think that it's something again that I've had to learn and to be really honest, I feel like identifying your own triggers and I feel like for me at first I was so protective over my business that, like, anyone that
Mm.
left or anyone that copied us, I was so trigger happy, and I remember there's some conversations in my early days where I, like, was reactive to things, and I, like, look back on that, and I'm so disappointed that I handled it, but I also know I was really young in navigating what I was going through, and
And it
now
allowed you to learn a lesson,
it allowed me to learn
Yeah.
a lesson, and
you
now
know?
I
Yeah.
handle things completely differently. Devin, our COO, is she's
The
so
dream. Yeah.
She's so
She's so cool.
level-headed,
She's so
So
cool.
and,
cool.
sometimes I can feel a little bit emotional about things if something goes wrong, obviously, just knowing that, I'm such a passionate, intense person, the Scorpio in my chart, but Devin will be like, "Let's sleep on it. Let's take a day. Let's
Yeah.
take a step back. Like, let's step back from this, Sam. Let's, like, sit on it." And she's taught me so many things too, and I think that's just a huge part of it is having good people around you also to advise you to stay true to your long-term decisions. And Devin was a big part of that. I remember when we were experiencing all the growth, she was like, "What are our long-term goals though? Because I know that you've told me that you don't want to chase growth. So like,
Right.
what are the things that we want? And let's go back to that and let's make sure every decision comes back to that." So get clear on what you want, which is not what
Yeah.
everybody else wants. Your KPIs
Yeah.
can look a lot different and your success can look a lot different than everybody else.
And I do think when you do that, like for yourself in whatever way that looks like Kingman has taught me this. You genuinely like the money follows the movement. That's what he's always
Mhm.
said to me. And I'm like, it's so true. Like, even like you're saying, if this year is net because you had your KPIs this year are more focused on culture or something else, like really still hitting those marks for your big picture, like it ends up supporting you in return. The
It's
universe,
so
this is where
true.
I get woo woo, but the universe ends up supporting you in return for doing that. I
I
just
know.
so believe in that shit, dude.
Yeah. It's like when you're in alignment, I feel like the universe is like,
Yes.
here, here,
100%.
here, like opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. But when you're like, when you're misaligned or when you're
Yeah.
like trying to live on someone else's path, then like you feel like it's just way more obstacles than normal.
Yeah.
And usually that's an
Yeah.
indicator. But yeah.
But speaking of dev too, and just like you
I
are
was gonna say,
such a
you really
good
set us up for a question that we've been wanting to talk about.
Yeah.
You did it
For
for
what? Do
us,
you want
thank
to
you.
ask it, Gabby?
Well, we're talking about people, correct?
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that what you were thinking? That was the path that
I
you
was
were
thinking
on?
about like, yeah, because she's been so Sam, you've even privately been so conscientious to me about how you've been, or you've said how conscientiously you've been trying to cultivate people around you that feel that expansive, that nice, that can ground
Mhm.
you, that are
Mhm.
here. Like you've been really focusing on finding those people. So
Mhm.
go ahead, Gabby.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's basically the question is just what are the qualities that you look for in the
Mm.
people that you bring onto the team? Does it differ from the people that you bring into your personal life?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
How do you differentiate? How do they
How do
make
you
you
differentiate?
feel? Where
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
find them? How do you, all of it?
Yeah. I
Where do you
I
make
would say
friends?
there's
Teach us
well,
everything.
I literally can count them on one hand, including my dog. No.
Yeah.
Um, very true statement though.
Me too.
Um, but yeah, I would say there's a lot of similarities in the people, I feel like I want to attract in my life and want kind of around me and around the people around me. But um, in a business, I think that talent and innovation and curiosity and willingness to learn to me say a lot more than just like general experience and stuff like that.
Mm,
So, I think it depends on the level that you're hiring for. Obviously, in a leadership, mentorship, senior level role, you need great experience. For Mayfair, it's been really big for us to find mentors in the company because we
Mm,
want to create that culture where people feel like they're always learning. I've had previous jobs, and I know a lot of our team members have had previous jobs, and even at Mayfair, I feel like to a degree, at some parts of the company, maybe we haven't had, and maybe we weren't able to afford like really top senior level people in the company.
fair.
And I feel like people really want those mentors in their career. I really wanted those mentors. Everyone asked for that. So I think someone that understands how to relate and be empathetic to people and really
Mm,
lead a team and be a good manager. I think those are really good traits. I think curiosity and the ability to like think outside the box, and that's something that is really big at Mayfair in general, is just because the industry is doing something, we don't want to do it that way. So how can you think
mm,
about things differently? And then something that's big for Mayfair is just alignment with our overall morals and pillars. Like
yeah.
if you don't
mhm.
stand for the things that we stand for, it's going to be hard to be driven by passion and create the work that we're working on, because like these campaigns have so many layers because they're personal, and it's something
Yeah.
that we all care about. And so when someone comes into an interview and they talk about their advocacy work or things that they really care about or social issues, to me that's like such a green light. And I
Totally.
think it's really important that they brought that up, and it tells me that like okay, they really are eager to like move the needle on these conversations, and that's something that we really look for. um Collaboration is a really big thing too, just having somebody that doesn't have a massive ego, that like can only work in a siloed group, like siloed individual, somebody that's open to collaboration, open to learning, that mentality of
Mhm.
being a student forever. And yeah, I would say just in my personal life, I look for all of those things and just like expansiveness. But I will say, like, it is nice to have people that are unrelated to work, because I think so much of my world can be consumed with work. And I'm working on living outside of the identity of Mayfair Sam
Exactly.
and CEO Sam. So I really love having people around me that don't give a shit about what I do
Yeah.
and just want to hang
Refreshing.
out with me and literally watch Love Island and not talk about work or social media or sales or any of those things. So, as much as I look for those traits of like expansiveness and openness, like I definitely, and obviously caring about all the social issues and stuff, I love people that just are on complete opposite pages in my personal life and really don't care about work or what I do and those things. So,
You need it, dude.
You
You
need it.
gotta
Yeah.
have that
You really
balance. It's
do.
so hard,
You really do.
especially when like you're saying, like all the books we're reading kind of relate to where all the friends we have are also kind of in.
Yeah.
It's just so true, and you've really done that recently.
For
Yeah.
people who are maybe unfamiliar, which doubtful, like who doesn't know what you do, but what are those pillars that you were talking
Yeah.
about that you guys focus on at Mayfair?
I mean, advocacy is the biggest one. I think
Mhm.
just mental health advocacy, social issues advocacy, like
Mhm.
equality advocacy, like it's a lot of the social issues and issues that we care about moving the needle on. So, we create campaigns around those things. We actually this past month in May launched a therapy fund, which Meadow was a big part of
Huge.
too. But it's
Huge.
so important for us to give people access to therapy. I know that that is sadly a luxury that a lot of people don't have access to. So it's really important for us to be able to provide resources. And we started small. We started in New York. We're partnered with My Wellbeing, but we hope to expand that therapy fund to way more states, give people access to resources for mental health care. So those are, some of our fundamental pillars. And, I think that in general, just creating a safe space on the
Mhm.
internet and real life, creating a community, people that can feel seen, loved, and valued for who they are, and really creating a safe space for conversation. And a lot of that goes
You're
back to
fucking
things that,
living that, babe.
yeah,
You're doing
a
it.
lot of that.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. That means a lot. But yeah, a lot of it goes back to just like the things that we all kind of, growing up was missing. And I felt like
Yeah.
I never had when I was navigating my depression in 2016 and prior to that. So yeah, it's just about hopefully changing, like, in a little way that we can, creating a safe space for people to be themselves.
You're really fucking doing it, dude. I'm just so honored to know you and be a part of it. I love you so much.
Oh,
I do have 3 kind of fun, cutesy, like wrap-up questions that have nothing to do with anything.
let's do it.
I
I
don't
love
even
you
know what
Okay.
guys.
she's gonna say, so let's hear it.
Oh God.
Well, it's about you. Well, it's honestly just selfish because Sam's been on vacation and haven't been able to talk to her, and I just want to catch up with her. So it's the best thing you've eaten, like all since being in London, or France, like on your vacay. Best thing you ate, most fun purchase, and most fun activity.
Love
Oh
to
my
hear it.
gosh. Okay, can I say the Nando's that I just wolfed down
Fuck yeah,
before
you
we
can.
went?
Fuck yeah, you
Love.
can. Because those
Like,
are the things you crave when you're not there, you know?
yeah, Nando's is so nostalgic to me.
Yeah.
If you know, you know,
Yeah.
Nando's chicken, peri
Totally.
peri sauce. But it's like I was eating like amazing French fancy food, and I just wanted some fucking chicken and fries, you know?
Yep.
So
Yep.
got
Preach.
home and we just ordered some Nando's, and I just purchase. Ooh, this is a good one. Can I say
No. Just kidding.
no? Oh,
No, you're just saying,
well,
"Can I say?" I was like, "Babe, you can say whatever you want.
yeah, my mom
This is for you."
and my mom is in the room. She's literally just took her curler out because she doesn't want to come over here and be on the Zoom.
I'm like, "Hi,
But
mom."
Meadow and Gabby say hi, mom. Hi,
Oh,
darlings, in her
Hi.
English
Oh
here,
god,
I
accent.
her
can hear
accent.
her. I know.
But I would say me and my sister are taking my mom. We leave on Saturday. She's so excited, but we're taking my mom on a 2-week trip to
Stop
places
it.
that we've always wanted to go with the 3 of us. It's a girls' trip.
Stop.
My mom's had a crazy year. She's had a hard year. She's literally dancing in the living room right now. But I would
I'm
say
so excited for her.
best thing we purchased was just the tickets to be able to have that
Yeah.
experience with her. And I think, again, this comes with the territory of like learning to be selfish with my own time and do the things that I've
Totally.
always wanted to do and spend time with family. So that's probably best purchase. What was the
Oh
last
my
question?
gosh, that's so
Wait,
cute.
how
Activity.
exciting.
Like, so what, like, yeah, activity, fun thing you've done there.
Fun thing I've done. Activity. Oh my God, we did so many crazy things, I feel like.
Of course you
I'm like, the shit we did in France. I'm like, eh.
are.
I'm
We
like,
need to hear the stories off
would
I
camera.
know.
yeah, people would view me differently.
I feel that way
I
about my
mean,
entire existence. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I know. It's a whole different Sam.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, fun activity for me is just spending time with family, as literally lame as that is to say.
No,
I'm
you're a
there
quality time girl.
Quality time. It's my love language. I live in Arizona. My family lives in London. All my siblings are all over the place. Brother in London, sister in LA, brother in LA, mom and dad here. So the fact that we get to spend time together, we could literally be doing not shit, like sitting around a kitchen table doing nothing, and we're having the best fucking time ever, just laughing. So I think, I just value that time. And we go to dinner and we play like a question games at dinner. So we all ask each other questions. We put our phones away, and it can just be like really stupid shit to like really serious kind of like long-term thought-provoking questions and stuff. But I just really value that time of, getting like quality time with my family, I think is like really special.
Oh, that's a beautiful answer. And
let's not take away any more of it.
Yeah, no, because also like it's just that's rare, right? Like for people to be able to have those relationships with their family. So like that's amazing, and I'm very happy for you. And like literally, you were just so. First of all, we're so grateful that you took the time, like out of your special happy time in London, to do this with us. We admire you so much. You like. Truly everything that came out of your mouth today, just like pearls of wisdom the whole time.
How many fucking TikToks can I make of this episode? I'm like, every single time Sam talks, I'm turning it into a TikTok. The gems.
But we just, seriously, we just appreciate you so much. And what you're doing with Mayfair is so special and so, it's just like really fucking validating too, Mm-hmm. Like it really is. And I feel so grateful that I've gotten to meet you and know you. So thank you beyond for doing this. Seriously.
Thank you guys so much. The feeling is so mutual. I know I tell you this all the time, Meadow and Gabby. I feel like you guys are just so special, and I cannot wait to see the team that you build, the incredible things you guys do.
Well, you're going to fucking help us because we're going to ask you all the questions when it happens.
No. You both have the biggest future, and I just know you're going to create an amazing culture and team, and I can't wait to be a witness to all of it. So I love you guys so much.
I miss you so much. When you come back, can you not go to Arizona? Can you guys come to San Diego? Couples trip, we said, because I miss you so much.
Let's do it. No, we have to do it. Gabby, you're in LA, right?
Yeah.
She'll come. We'll make her come down. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. 2 hours. We'll do it.
Yeah. We got this.
We'll do it. Yeah. I love you so much.
Love you guys.
I get to talk to you tomorrow. So I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yay.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the Thoughts Mayberry podcast every Monday.